Memphis has over 12,000 nonprofits working to make our city a better place to live in. Memphis Makers explores remarkably diverse and unique nonprofits that make a daily impact on our city block by block. And I'm your host, Mark Fleischer. Each time I venture out to do an interview for Memphis Makers, I come back reinvigorated and hopeful for a future in Memphis. Celebrating over 30 years of working for Memphis area residents, the Community Legal Center is as necessary now as it was the day it was founded. When people think about lawyers, some tend to see the old stereotypes, the image of men or women who manipulate juries or are just in it for hefty retaining fees. Here, attorneys work in concert and with deep compassion. CLC's Director of Development and Communications, Rachel Brandon, invited us in to take a look at all the good work that's being done in this unassuming office.
Hello.
Rachel.
Welcome to the CLC.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We're downtown on Front and Monroe. So we are a legal services nonprofit. We provide legal services to those who do not qualify for traditional legal aid. Mm-hmm. So this could be, our working class neighbors or folks who just really can't afford a private legal bill. Mm-hmm. We provide our services on a sliding scale. It can look like you can have a household of 4 people and still have an income of almost $100,000. Uh-huh. So we really are focused in on what we call our ALICE population, asset limited, income constrained, but employed, that need help with their legal bills. And we handle a variety of civil needs. So not necessarily what you would traditionally hear from legal services nonprofit that are what we call pro bono, so totally free, but low bono.
Yeah.
So folks can come in here, pay what they can afford based on their income, and still get very quality legal services.
I love the balloons here.
Oh yes, so we do have several events throughout the year, including estate planning clinics and renters' rights clinic, and these are some leftover from one of our celebrations.
Okay.
So they're still hanging on here, serving as wall decor.
Yeah, until they peter out.
Yeah, that's right.
So, fingerprinting room, you said?
Yes, so I cannot take you inside, unfortunately, but this is our fingerprinting room where we interview adults and fingerprint them, those that are going to take custody of unaccompanied minors here that are in the U.S. without their parents or legal guardian and that are in the custody of the Office of Refugee Resettlement. Mm-hmm. And this is funded by a great nonprofit partner, Global Refuge. And then here we have our offices of our Immigrant Justice Program, DOJ reps, which means that they can do a lot of the same of what an immigration attorney does. And then of course, our amazing civil paralegals.
How big is the team then?
Our entire team, when we're fully staffed, about 15. And depending on the need here, our staff will ebb and flow.
What's the service area encompass?
So typically we focus on Memphis and Shelby County, but with our Immigrant Justice Program, we do focus on parts of Arkansas and North Mississippi. And here's our lovely civil department. These are the folks who handle things like adoptions and guardianships, estate planning for our elders. And we actually have a partnership with CREA, so we step in cases of elder abuse.
Yes, I saw that on the website. Yeah. There were, half dozen or more categories and types of services that you all provide. I know one is on the top of the list at the moment, but we can get into that.
Yes.
a little bit later on.
A little bit later. Yeah. And just continue with our tour. We have like a U-shaped office here. We have our leadership offices, our associate executive director, and our executive director's office here. And then we do not have any interns at the moment, but this is our, we take 1Ls and college students who are interested in law or maybe marketing communications and nonprofit, and this is their home. And this right here, our last destination, is our Elmore and Sarah Holmes conference room. They were actually 2 of our founders of the CLC, and that really helped get us off the ground. The CLC was founded out of really filling a need here in Memphis to fill that justice gap of folks who didn't qualify for legal aid. Yeah. So we celebrated a 30th anniversary about 2 years ago, and we wanted to honor our founders during that 30th anniversary and rename some of these rooms after them.
Oh, that's good. That's great. Beautiful. So who are we going to talk to today?
Today we're going to be speaking with our Executive Director, Betsy Prendergast, our Director of Civil Legal, Donna Snipes, and our Director of Immigrant Justice, Colton Bain.
Excellent. All right. Okay. Well, Rachel, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. You're executive director. How long have you served in that role?
I've served in that role for the past year, but I've been with the CLC in different capacities for about 25 years. I came here as a client initially, and I told them I was going to come back and volunteer one day when I went to law school, and I did that, and they haven't been able to get rid of me since. I've served on the board and worked in the organization as a staff attorney doing immigration law.
So that's almost the entire lifespan of the
Organization, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So got a lot of institutional knowledge.
Said you were introduced to the organization as a client.
I was looking for help with a divorce, and I went to the courthouse, and they referred me to the CLC, and I went to a Tuesday night clinic. We used to have them at St. John's Methodist on Peabody. It changed my life. They were able to help me and change my life at a really important point in my life. I knew I wanted to be part of that. I knew I wanted to be with people making that kind of change in people's lives. So when I went to law school, it was an obvious thing. I went and volunteered and started working in the office. And yeah, I've been working with CLC in different capacities ever since then. Sometimes just as a volunteer, a few times a year, but they haven't been able to get rid of me. So yeah.
The old joke about, lawyers and attorneys, being one of the lowest forms of, right. But you don't, you don't get that sense at all from Community Legal Center and you all here, but also your story alone, I think, is so important as a reminder that you're here to help. It can get, obviously, as we all know, it can get so expensive.
Sometimes it's, talking about getting a divorce, it doesn't sound that profound in someone's life, but it can make a huge difference and change a lot of things. Our immigration work also changes lives in really profound ways. So in a matter of just, a couple of hours working with an attorney can have a huge payoff.
Divorce, yes, it can. It has a huge impact. People forget the fact that it really includes virtually every part of your life.
Right.
From home, family, financial future.
Yes.
I mean, emotions. Obviously, work in the help of an attorney can makes all the difference for folks. What are the main types of services you all provide?
We have a civil program where we do conservatorships. We work with the coordinated response to elder abuse here in town with Meriton, and we get referrals for cases of elder abuse, and we work to get conservatorships for those people, guardianships, adoptions, divorces, name changes, things like that. That's mostly our civil program. Occasionally we'll do a consumer issue. We also participate in some landlord-tenant clinics where people can come in with their issue they're having with their landlord and get free advice right there on the spot. We're doing that in partnership with West Tennessee Legal Services and Memphis Area Legal Services, so we're all working together in that way. And then we have our immigrant justice program, which of course is doing humanitarian immigration work, do asylum, U visas for victims of crimes, T visas for victims of trafficking, other humanitarian relief that we can do. We're recently looking to expand our program to do detained work because we see a growing need for that.
Detained work.
We are seeing that a lot of people are being detained that have valid status,
Right.
special immigrant juvenile. We had a client recently with special immigrant juvenile status, and they were not supposed to be picked up. They should not be detained, but they were. As more of our clients are being detained, we're going to expand our services to do that work.
Yeah.
The CLC has a long history. We started out as Family Mediation Center because there was a need for mediation services in Memphis, and we expanded to provide direct representation along the way. It expanded when we see the need in the city.
Honestly, everything sort of intersects in the law.
Right.
Divorces intersect with conservatorships. Divorces intersect with immigration. We also handle guardianships and adoptions, and those also intersect with the hot topics right now. They really do, especially with immigration, and we have minor children who are affected and their parents are being removed. And those are some things that the civil department is also helping the immigration department handle as well.
What is the breadth and depth of civil? It feels
A lot.
infinite.
It is. It is. It's very broad. When you're talking about the civil department, it's very broad. But I like to say, even though we handle parts of the civil world like divorce, uncontested divorces, adoptions, guardianships, conservatorships, things of that nature, we know that if it's a matter that CLC doesn't cover, we know how to refer it out to some of our pro bono partners, as well as some of our partners who will take matters at a lower rate than they normally would. So we know that there are attorneys who specialize in certain areas of the law. So if it's a title issue, we might refer that out to someone we know is skilled in title work and does it every single day. Because what we don't want to do is put our clients in jeopardy. We want our clients to come to us, but we also want our clients to get the best services, legal services that they are entitled to. And if we don't feel like we can give those services to our clients, we will refer them to someone that we trust. We also have our pro bono clinic that's located at the courthouse, and we have a pro bono director who is also helping us out with allocating, okay, where does this particular case go to best? Who might be able to serve this client best? But in regards to the services that we do provide in the civil department, we try to do the very best that we can up until we cannot do it in-house, where we have to refer it outside to another competent attorney.
For those who don't understand these terms sometimes, pro bono versus low bono versus
Sliding scale.
sliding scale.
Pro bono means it's free. That's it.
Yeah.
Free. All services are free. Sliding scale means we charge you based upon the number of individuals in your household and your yearly or monthly income. That's a sliding scale. So the fees are not going to be the same for every client. It's based upon household members as well as income level. That's what it's based upon. Low bono, that just means rather than paying the full market price for legal services, we're going to reduce it down to suit this individual or this client's needs.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when our clients come to us, they're shocked about how much they're going to pay. And we have to remember, these are not people who are asking for a handout. They just need affordable services.
Yeah.
And that's simply it. That could be me, that could be you, that could be your neighbor, that could be anyone, because legal fees can be very expensive.
Yeah.
CLC also offers estate planning clinics that create wills, simple wills, powers of attorney. We help to help with the advance directives for seniors who are 60 or over. We typically do this at community centers, churches, or wherever we can go to, retirement centers, assisted living centers. So we normally do this maybe once a month, sometimes more. And in more recent years, because of the economic situation that we are currently in, there's been a higher increase of financial exploitation of elders. And we've been seeing a high increase in that, not only with individuals who are just simply exploiting someone just to exploit someone, but it also is internally within families as well. And so the district attorney's office, they are ready to prosecute individuals who decide they want to take advantage of our elder community. And that is definitely something that we're trying to combat.
Our population is getting older, hence,
Well, we're in the middle of that big baby boom.
Right.
The boomers are now aging.
Yeah.
And look at who we are dependent on now.
Right.
So here, the boomers are now in their elder years. And it's our responsibility as a community to make sure they are being well taken care of, because these are those who took care of us. So it's now our responsibility to do so. It's unfortunate now that there are individuals who take advantage of that crisis, because it is a crisis that we are in. We have a higher onset of disabilities such as dementia and, those mental health issues.
Yeah.
And we have, and I was just speaking to one of our probate court judges who is stating that the caseload is getting higher, but the help tends to get lower because there's so much an influx of these matters coming through the courts now. And we really have to also recognize that we have mental health issues in our community that we have to, CLC absolutely has decided to take a part in and have a hand in and to address that particular issue.
The civil legal services also includes kids, college kids, aging out. Explain what that process.
So let me just give you a background. So when we're parents, we basically make all decisions for our children. We can go to any doctor's office, pull their medical records, their school records, educational records without question. But when they turn 18 and are off to college, we forget that our children are now adults. And because they are now adults, although we're still paying the bills and paying their tuition and their housing and healthcare, and they're still on our insurance, we don't have access to it anymore because they are adults. So there's another hurdle. We either have to have a power of attorney for our children saying our child is okay with us having access to their medical information, their educational records, anything that we need permission for, the power of attorney will cover us, where we will have access to it. I experienced that with my own child. He had been in the hospital for pneumonia, and it was right before he was about to go away to college in another state. So I took myself to the hospital to ask for his records. He had already turned 18, and they told me no, he's an adult and I needed his permission. So I had to get my son's permission in order to obtain his medical records so that I could send them to his college, the health center at his college, so that they could continue his care for him.
Yeah.
And he was in another state at the time. So we also assist parents who are in that situation who will need that permission from their children who are 18 and above. And we really don't think about it, but it is a thing. Those powers of attorney that I was mentioning for our 18 plus children.
Right.
And when we have children who are disabled, such as low functioning autistic children or children with Down syndrome or some other disability, and they've aged out, now, because they've never had capacity, they've never been able to sign a POA. So now we find ourselves in probate court, similar to when we have an elder client and they are experiencing debilitating mental illnesses. And CLC often has to create conservatorships for those aged out children. So we find ourselves in court again for those.
That makes perfect sense. But again, not something that we think about.
We don't.
We just don't.
Because we're always just doing for our children. So we don't think about, okay, the other legal aspect of it when they turn 18.
Yeah.
And it's a serious situation because once they turn 18, the Social Security office send them a check. If they receive some sort of award or an inheritance, send them a check. But someone has to use that check on behalf of that person, that now adult.
Right.
How long have you been with your organization?
So I've officially been here as an attorney for a little over 3 years. So September of 2022 is when I came on as a staff attorney. And about a year after that is when I became the director of the program. But my history with the CLC goes back a lot farther.
What interested you in going into immigration law specifically?
So there's a bit of a story behind that. Growing up, when people would ask, small children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you would hear usually firefighters, policemen, and stuff like that. For me, I had this extreme fascination with Indiana Jones. So I wanted to be an archaeologist. And what really resonated with me from that was like learning about other cultures and other types of people and different ways of life, and being somebody from a small town. I'm originally from Dyersburg, Tennessee. Most of my adult life has been here in Memphis, but when I moved here for college, but up until then, I was in Dyersburg. And you really, in those small towns, don't get much exposure.
Yeah.
But eventually, I come here, I go to college, and I kind of learned that, well, there isn't really a lot of job opportunities in the archaeology field. You kind of have to know somebody. But I did have a fascination with the law. I was struggling between, do I like the idea of criminal defense? I grew up with a family, I walk in the living room at any time, we're watching Law and Order. And so I was like, well, law is a little bit more lucrative, it seems something more probable for me. So come to the University of Memphis for undergrad and get my degree in political science, because that's sort of the go-to degree to go to law school. Not necessary, but a lot of people do that. And then going into law school, I was very set on immigration. Another part of this was that when I first moved to Memphis, I didn't know anybody. And my first job here was actually at a Home Depot, store 725 out on Riverdale. I was there for about 3 years, and I met somebody there. I worked in the lumber and building materials, but over next door in the hardware department, I met a gentleman by the name of Jose. We were both students at University of Memphis, undergrad at the time. And because we went to school during the day, we were often there in the evenings to help close the store, and we would help each other out. When he drove the forklift, I'd spot him with the flags. When I drove the forklift, he'd spot me. And, eventually we built this friendship to where I was, starting to go over to his house and meet his family. And, they were all citizens, but there were some other people that would attend that, were essentially living in the shadows, and I was learning from them firsthand knowledge, the immigrant experience, right? It was something that was so foreign to me. And, it really hurt me to see, like, these are good people, and these are what they're having to do to navigate society. They don't get any sort of assistance should they fall upon hard times. A lot of times, these types of individuals, when they do find employment, the employers will hold their immigration status over their head. They're treated unfairly, paid lower than the federal minimum wage, and just kind of hearing these struggles of what they had to go through. So that, combined with my interest since childhood of learning about different people from different backgrounds and different cultures, that's what really pushed me into immigration law, where I could get the quote unquote lucrative law occupation,
right,
but also still have that tie to like something that I'm personally interested in myself, and also at the same time do some good for some people that are very well deserving of it.
You've got to be. I was thinking about this, when preparing for today. Extremely empathetic,
Yes.
just by nature.
If I could just take all my payment and food and have my bills, away with them, I would take all my payments and food. Not too long ago, we got a young lady, her work permit, and she brought the office 30 homemade tamales that she had spent the past 2 days working on. Because we told her about it, we have it in our office, come pick it up. She's like, I will come get it in 2 days. I have to prepare something for y'all. And I ate all of my share that day. We get grants for this kind of work. A lot of times if I'm doing something free for you, there is a grant that you're falling under, and I'll try to explain that process to them.
Yeah.
But a lot of, especially now, there are limited options for individuals.
Yeah.
And so these days, I've really been more so a bearer of bad news for people, where, I could charge them and file something that I know will lose, but that's, from a practical standpoint, that's not a good use of my time. I have many clients that do have an option. I have to fight their case, zealously. But, if somebody doesn't have options, I just tell them the preparations they probably need to make. I'm sure Donna has talked about powers of attorney and their importance at this time, whether it be for property or for children.
Yeah.
A lot of times they do still get some relief, even though I have no good news for them. I'm at least able to let them know what the path forward looks like, that there are people listening that wish they could help, and should something change, they will help. But yeah, it's a really tough time, at least in my world right now, and the individuals that I deal with on a daily basis. But I do my best to keep people informed, objectively, and sometimes even if it's just listening to them, I feel like that goes a long way. As a husband, as a father, as a God-fearing Catholic, a lot of this really hits home for me. It's no longer a job. It really kind of makes me look fondly back on my blue collar days, working with my dad painting houses, or working in warehouses and driving a forklift. Oh, I miss driving a forklift. I could just ride all day and then go home. But that, like you said, that's not the case with this. My wife is also an attorney. She's a criminal defense attorney and has been one for about over a decade now. She recently did a post about my experience with going to that house we were talking about with gas. It's, I do my best to always think about like how difficult that is on my wife as well. I mean, she's on the call too, but I don't think she's been called to like have to go to an active, federal raid,
right.
And felt compelled to go. She volunteered to go, and we had to think about like, well, if we both go and we both get detained, then what about our daughter? And so, she chose to stay with our daughter, and this stuff bleeds into the home, but it really helps to have my wife that is very supportive of the work I do.
Yeah.
And is understanding of it. And at the same time, I try my best. Sometimes most of the time I can definitely do better in my own personal life. But at this time in the current environment with the current situation, I have a particular set of skills, and I got to do my best to put them to good use. It's the reason I went to law school in the first place, was to be of help to the greater good. And as a Catholic, it's my calling as well.
Thank you for sharing with that last part. That's very important.
Yeah, I'm working with my therapist on it. I hear you.
You're watching the Library Channel, a broadcast service of the Memphis Public Libraries and the City of Memphis.